Welcome to Darshan America, folks. We come to you from Washington, D.C. My name is Ramesh Butani.
And I am Shilpa Alimchandani.
The Senate approved a bill that says the skilled workers that are imported in this country will have to pay much higher fees. Now, you got to give it credit to Senator Schumer, for the bill actually helps the American companies. You understand that if any company has more than 50% of its employees as H-1B or L-1 visa, they have to pay as much as $4,500 for a visa that is H-1B or L-1. These are extra fees. Now, IBM, Intel, Microsoft, they have more than 50% of the employees that are American, whereas Infosys, Wipro, and Tata Consultancy have 50% and more of H-1B and L-1. So what has occurred here is some very smart, shrewd business people have gone to the Senate, of course it is yet to go to House, and said, we need to pass a bill that is going to be a competitive advantage to the Americans.
Well, yeah, I mean, basically what this is saying is that Indian companies, because they happen to have more foreign workers on these special visas, skilled visas, are going to have to pay much higher fees than these big American companies who also have a lot of foreign workers on H-1B or L-1 visas, but less than half. So these guys get away with it.
And nothing wrong with that. You know, every dollar spent in the United States creates $1.35 worth of economic activity, whereas a dollar sent out is a dollar sent out. Zero comes back.
But I'm sure there are a lot of people who are worried now about these higher fees, Ramesh.
Well, this is the way the American businesses are fighting to make sure there's a level playing field. I mean, imagine in China, $3 an hour they pay to the automotive worker. We have to pay here, the new hires, $26, the old hires, $86 an hour.
You just can't compare.
You just can't compete. You just can't compete. So everybody's coming up with this kind of laws and regulations. And China does that too, by the way.
Well, moving from visa rules and regulations to technology-related ones, a lot of you, I'm sure, have Blackberries, are very used to using them. You may have been hearing on the news about the Canadian company that makes Blackberries, RIM, Research in Motion, often referred to as RIM. They've been under a lot of scrutiny from foreign governments who want to be able to access the encrypted data that's being sent on Blackberries for their own intelligence purposes, right? I mean, a lot of countries want to know what's being communicated. We want to keep our eyes and ears open. U.S. and Canada have no problem with this, but countries like India are saying, hey, how come we don't have access? Especially after the Mumbai attacks in 2008, India has been cracking down and looking much more carefully at computer-based communication because, after all, the attackers were using some of that internet-based phones when they carried out those attacks. So what they're saying is, how come it seems like countries like the U.S. seem to have access to that encrypted data and we don't? We don't think it's fair.
Well, you know, Saudi Arabia has the same problem too. But basically, the solution is to put a whole lot of servers in these individual countries. Basically, what they say is the encrypted mail, which comes from Canada and USA, could, you know, someone could have keys to that.
Mm-hmm.
So they want encryption in Saudi Arabia so that they have the keys to it, or in India so they have the keys to it. But you know, you guys have to give a little more business to RIM so that they can give you the keys, they can install the servers. You don't give enough business and then you say, hey, put a whole lot of servers up.
Well, I think you're right, it is about business because RIM at the same time is saying, oh, you can't mess with our security is supreme. At the same time, they're saying, we don't break any laws around the world, we cooperate with governments. Well, something is going on here, right? Because it does seem like some governments must have access, must have those keys. And what I was also interested in seeing was that this is not necessarily regular BlackBerry consumers. RIM sells its most secure services to corporations, right? So it's those corporate BlackBerries and people who buy those secure services because the company wants to monitor how the BlackBerries are being used. They're the ones that are hard to break. That's where you need the keys.
That's very true. But I am sure they're going to compromise. and they're going to come up with, okay, we're going to put servers up there, we're going to invest some dollars, hopefully the business will follow.
Yeah.
And it'll be the first mover. Whosoever gets in there with a lot of servers, first mover advantage.
I came across this article in BBC about France's immigrants, and specifically a lot of the chefs working in French restaurants are not French themselves. They are Asian and they are African by and large. So many of them also illegal immigrants who are paying into the Social Security system, and they're paying taxes, are obviously not getting the benefits that citizens do. And it turns out that unions are beginning to back the campaign for these illegal workers to get legal status to work in France, because they do add so much value to the workforce and are living quite peacefully for the most part in the country. They, of course, don't have access to things. Last year, France deported, expelled 30,000 illegal immigrants. So we know that the country takes this problem very seriously, but French people are, feeling that threat of foreigners. We've been hearing a lot about the debate about the Muslim veil and whether that will be made illegal and what the implications of that would be. But we have to recognize that these are the people making all that lovely food, right, in France. And these are the people who are working very hard. In fact, the article goes on to talk about how South Asian and African immigrants are even making a mark on the food itself by introducing things like tandoori chicken, vegetable curries, and in one particular place, a burger joint called Bollywood burgers being made there with some oriental spices. So, French people have to watch out.
But
there's a lot of influence coming from abroad.
I want to tell you, there's a union interest in it. And this